All right, so let's start talking about phasers that are referencing other presets, whether they are universal, global, or selective presets. I've tried a few different approaches on different tours, and what I've landed at in actually preparing this information together has been an approach that originally I had discarded because I thought it was pointless. And that approach is making sure that any preset that you use as part of a phaser includes universal information. Now I'm going to show you first why I didn't like this approach originally and what I have learned since that makes it usable. So if I grab my liras and I have my template symmetrical circle in preset. So this should be taking one half of them and rotating them clockwise and the other half counterclockwise. When I click this, you'll notice they're not even pointing in the correct direction, let alone symmetrical. So the issue that I had been having with using universal information in building a phaser was this. It is because you built the phaser referencing the universal scope of a preset, because if I go into my position presets, and I probably should have shown you first, sorry, my liras, if I take them to their up, down, stage right, and stage left presets, they are aimed correctly, and these are the presets that phaser was built with. But that phaser was built universal, so it is pointing to the universal information in these presets instead of the more narrowly scoped selective information that is available for those fixtures, which makes that a completely unusable workflow for me. It makes that an unusable workflow. However, what I've learned is that when you cook that within a preset, it ends up coming out correctly. So if I grab my liras, I'm just going to clear out liras. We're going to do our symmetrical circle. I'm going to go ahead and do a phase and wings on that. Again, this is all completely incorrect right now. That's okay. I'm going to store a matrix universal into a new preset here. Now, if I clear out, grab my liras at this preset, it's still wrong. That's what we're expecting. It's okay. So then I'm going to do our phaser to recipe. Really preset to whatever. We're turning into a recipe. And I'll just label this circle in. And as a reminder, the last part of this is a cook command, and there's a wait on that because if you do it too quickly, it doesn't seem to take. With all of that in play, we get our correct symmetrical circle effect. If instead, and again, if I extract this thing and tell my liras to go to it, it does at least reference the directions. So, all right. But it was still also it was kind of the correct directions. We'll do it again. So let's say I do my circle in, store a matrix universal to a new spot, circ in new. Okay. If I we're going to omit the cook line for right now. Same process. If I double click this thing, oh, it did work that time. I'm still not sure what the rules are, I guess, for when oh, it did not. Sorry, it certainly did not, because this is supposed to be symmetrical. So now if I say cook, which would be MA store, MA update, and hit that, clear out, double click again. Now we have our correct presets being referenced. So the golden ticket here is after you've converted it into a recipe, you also have to cook it again. For some reason, auto cook doesn't quite seem to hit that correctly or at the right time. But if you don't have that bit of universal information in there, it gets to be a lot more complicated. Well, I shouldn't say a lot more, but being able to update your show file in a mass movement in the same kind of sweeping updates as cloning your whole file. Cloning will no longer hit these updates correctly. What you have to do instead at that point is use what I've got here for it's labeled restore preset references. Originally I had labeled it clone in place because that's what's actually happening. So what this macro is doing is you select the preset that you want it to be targeting. It grabs everything that's in that preset. It forces it all into a single cell. So we're linearizing and then dividing by 1,000,000. So it will end up all in grid 0, 0. We create a new group, and then we clone that group to itself within that preset. And what that does in the event that for example, that your up, down, left, and right positions were only selective and had no universal information, when you try to reuse that selective preset, that selective phaser for other fixtures, it will throw hard values in at best. So what the clone does is it basically refreshes the preset references and says, oh, this should actually be built out of these preset references because other fixtures in this preset are doing that. But there's no way to use this across multiple presets at once. You have to do it one preset at a time. So the trade-off to keeping universal information in all of your positions is that now you have less ability to tell which fixtures are actually included in that position, which can become a legitimate problem. Depending on how you run your show, that can be a real problem. I believe if you just say on a preset, I actually hadn't thought through this in advance, but if you just turn a preset on, it only turns on the selective portion of it. Let's test that out. Do I not have highlight on? I guess well, that only would really be helpful if I had, if output, if programmer, highlight, if output this, there we go. Oh, weird. It still did grab one cell. So I guess it would only grab one of each fixture type. So yeah, I don't know. You would lose some data information of being able to tell which fixtures are actually contained in a position preset. You would have to hit edit and check your fixture list instead. But it keeps everything super slick to update. So, for me right now, that seems worth the trade-off. Maybe in 2 months I'll be feeling differently. I could show you with a color phaser, but realistically, a position phaser is going to be as complicated as it gets because it has the selective information in it. Regarding color phasers, I had said I was going to hit on that, but I don't think there's really anything new to be gained from that. If you can navigate selective phasers, then globals are really pretty simple and straightforward. I still advise to keep universal information in your color presets. So just so that no matter what fixture group you add to a multi-line phaser recipe system, I probably need a better term for whatever this is. No matter what fixtures you add, they have some kind of reference to the information that is being used in that phaser. But outside of that, that's working with preset references in phasers.